Hello, friends. It's Nikki, and welcome back to my messy bookshelf. Today I'm here with the Booktuber Role Tag, and I've been seeing a lot of people making these videos, been watching a lot of them, and I really wanted to put my 2 cents in here. And I was actually going to do this tag without being tagged, and then I was tagged. So, this tag was originally created by Allison from Allison Annotated, and I was tagged by Cliff from Cliff's Dark Gems. So thank you for creating the tag, Allison, and thank you, Cliff, for tagging me. Um, so this tag was inspired by the shutting down of Book World, the Washington Post's book review, so a newspaper here in the US. And also, it says the controversy around the media campaign promoting Lost Lambs by Madeline Cash. Don't know too much about that, but I do know about newspaper book review sections. So I thought I would talk about these questions because I may have a bit of a different take than some other people that I follow and that I love watching uh, their videos. So I'll get into the questions. So the first question says, how do you view your role as a booktuber? Examples might be as a critic, a curator, an influencer, an entertainer, an educator, etc. And I didn't really feel like any of those really fit me well. So I think the word that I have come up with is a champion of books. I am a champion, a proponent of books and reading. Um, Having personally seen how books can change your life, and reading and becoming a reader can change your life. So, yeah, I don't really think any of the others really fit me too well. Um, Maybe entertainer. I guess you're, if you're here, you're watching my video. Influencer. I really hate that term. Um, but I also remember how I felt the first time someone told me that they read a book because I recommended it, and that was very surreal for me. So maybe that, but I would say a champion of books, a friend that you can talk to about books. My whole aim here is to be casual and just chat about books. Um, okay. The next question is, do you have any educational background in literature or literary criticism, either formal or self directed? And if you're comfortable sharing, do you have any other education or professional experience that you bring to bear on your reviews? And the answer to that is no. I do not have any professional experience or education besides the fact that I am currently a student of English. But oh, there's a gnat in here. Sorry. But yeah, no experience whatsoever. I guess the closest thing would be several years ago I did have a book blog, and always had wanted to start a YouTube channel, a booktube channel, but I was too shy to come on camera, so I had a book blog for about a year and a half. Number three is, do you typically do any research on either the book or the author before you review a book? So I do not do any research typically on the author or the book before I read the book, but before I review a book, definitely, because it is interesting to know more about the author's background before sort of finalizing my thoughts on the book. So I'll often look at reviews, I'll look up the author, but before I read the book, I typically like to go in a little bit blind. Number four, do you focus your reviews more on the objective qualities of a book or more on your subjective opinions about it? I like to think that I do share objective qualities of the books that I talk about, but I probably share more of my subjective opinions. I really, because I am here just casually chatting with you all about books that I read, um, I'm typically sharing what I thought about it and my feelings about it. So, probably more subjective, though I do try to include objective qualities as well. Um, let's see. Looking down, I did take some notes as well. Number 5. Have you ever received a free book or an advanced reader copy from the author? And if so, did it have any impact on your ability to honestly review the book or on how you felt about it? I did receive a few free books and arcs back about 10 years ago when I had my blog. And yeah, I think it did. I think it did because of the fact that I had a personal interaction, via email with this person. And a lot of times I didn't really like the books, and I felt bad not being. I felt like I couldn't share my honest thoughts about the books because of that. So my negative thoughts were somewhat scaled back when I wrote about them in my blog. So yeah, that's why I don't typically try to read arcs or anything like that now, because yeah, I'm soft. I'm soft. I don't like being unkind to people, and I know that that is not being unkind to the person, it is about the work, but I feel bad. I feel bad. And that's why I never asked for arcs anymore since I've had my channel. Number 6, do you review every book you read? Are there any reasons you might read a book but choose not to review it? Um, the previous question is a good one, a good example of why I might choose not to review it. But I don't review every book that I read because, I mean, I do read a lot, and I will post reviews on Goodreads, and I'll share my thoughts on the books that I read here on Booktube. But, I am not a critic. I am not a critic, so I don't necessarily feel qualified all the time to do very drawn out and thorough reviews. I'm here because I love books, and like I have mentioned, I am here to chat with you all about books as a friend. Number 7. How do you feel about the fact that many people now primarily consume book reviews by hobbyists on Booktube rather than professional critics? What is lost and what is gained? And here I feel is where I might differ from some other videos that I have watched with this tag. And for me, I am upset. I am upset that they closed down this section of the newspaper. Yes, I feel that a valuable resource has been lost, especially for the more educated and well informed people who actually read that section. But I don't feel that the average casual reader, the average person, is necessarily reading those types of that type of content, if you will, especially with the younger generations. I don't really think many of them have ever even opened a newspaper, whether online or paper versions of that. So while I do feel upset that it seems the newspapers, because I think there's been several newspapers around the country that have shut down their book review section. Correct me if I'm wrong. Um, I feel that they feel reading is not important or popular anymore. And what I think the problem is that, like I said, many of the younger generations are not typically consuming that type of content. They do come to YouTube and to TikTok and social media to get the information. Another thing that I wanted to point out, I have never, ever picked up a book based on a critic's review. I have never watched a movie or film based on a critic's review. I can sometimes find them somewhat snobbish, even. Um, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way. Yes, I do sometimes think they can come across very snobbish um, for the average reader, not the academics and, the super educated. So, so I am glad that readers have Booktube as a resource and other social media and other forms of content. Now, don't get me wrong, I do think critics have value, a lot of value, um, explaining themes that the rest of us might have missed, giving a more objective view of the books than a lot of us here on Booktube and elsewhere typically do. But sometimes I think that critics think that they are the be all end all when it comes to books that are being released, and that is something that I never have appreciated. I'll give an example. A couple of years ago, I read Moby Dick for the first time. And obviously, no modern critics are reviewing it as a new release, but a critic might talk about the themes of obsession and man's, you know, battle against nature and such. But I saw other things in the book that I have never seen mentioned in any type of professional's explanation of Moby Dick. What I saw was the monotony of life at sea and the madness that creeps up when you haven't seen another living soul for months at a time, or land or civilization. I saw the diversity of the crew, because that happens when you are stuck working in such close quarters with other people. I also saw adventure and the sense of adventure. Herman Melville was a sailor. He was a sailor. So all of that was in there. And that's not something that I ever hear talked about when I hear Moby Dick talked about. It's always about obsession. And yes, those things are true, but there were other things in there. And I think that it is a good thing that there are hobbyists from all over the world and from every walk of life and profession um, talking about books. So, all in all, I don't think that it's a good thing that they shut down. Um, what was it called? The Book World from the Washington Post. But I don't think that all is lost. I don't think all is lost. And yeah, I'm just here, regular Joe Schmo. I guess I'm not a Joe Schmo. I'm more like a Jane Schmo, but here we are. I'm just here to talk about books and share my love of reading with people who might not read as much, or people that do. That's all I'm here to do. And so yes, I call myself a champion and a proponent of reading and a friend. So I hope all of that made sense, and I hope I didn't offend anyone, but I thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.